At age 14, Linda Blair made one of Hollywood's most memorable debuts as the star of the 1973 film The Exorcist. But in the years that followed, she found it difficult to avoid being pigeonholed as a victim, and harder still to leave behind the legacy of her first film. By the time she starred in the sequel, Exorcist II, in 1977, a relationship with rocker Rick Springfield had gone south, and Linda's parents had divorced. Linda turned to booze to cope with her depression.
But it was a very painful time, and I can reflect back and say that that was one of the most difficult years anybody could ever have survived through. And I do give myself credit, and I do try to embrace myself for making it through that time, because I know it just about killed me.
But she never told me that she was depressed. She really didn't, and I think she was probably protecting me.
Linda managed to overcome her dependence on alcohol, but that wasn't the end to her heartaches or difficulties. First, Exorcist II flopped when it opened in the summer of 1977. Then, on October 20th of that same year, several of Linda's friends in the rock band Lynyrd Skynyrd died when their plane crashed. Linda was grief-stricken.
They were Southern gentlemen, believe it or not, and they were fun-loving, and sure, they got in their brawls, but that was boy stuff. I was a fan of their music. So, for me, they were family, and it was like losing brothers, and it hurt.
Linda traveled to Florida for the funeral services, but once there, she got herself into trouble. An acquaintance invited her to come along on a cocaine buying trip. Linda went because the drug dealers were also dog breeders. She says she bought no drugs, but arranged to have a puppy delivered to her home in Connecticut.
After the funerals, I went back to Connecticut, and it was many months before I got the puppy that I had chosen.
When the dealers called Linda to make arrangements to deliver the puppy, they also asked her if she knew anyone who was interested in buying cocaine.
And I kept saying, this is all on tape. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, because it was like, it was so accessible back then. Everyone had it everywhere. And finally it's like, oh, look, I'm sure I know somebody. And those were the words that convicted me.
Soon after, Linda was arrested and charged with being part of a drug conspiracy. Linda wanted to face the charges at trial, but her lawyer counseled her against it.
He said, you don't have enough money to fight this. This will go on forever. Everybody's going down, and they want you. It's better to make a deal. And that is why we made the deal. Was it hard to live with? Yeah, because it wasn't the truth.
Linda ultimately pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges related to the possession of cocaine. She was placed on probation and agreed to talk to youth groups about the consequences of drugs.
I was the one that took the blow for everybody. And as I say, life has gone on, and there's nothing that I can do to change that, but it didn't feel good.
After the drug bust, Hollywood looked at its favorite child star with suspicion. It wasn't easy for Linda to find work, but in 1978, she did land a role in a horror film directed by Wes Craven.
I think at that time, when I was working with her on Summer of Fear, it was that and the fear of, you know, the trouble she had had with the law and with drugs and with supposedly wild living and so forth.
Summer of Fear came and went with little fanfare. By 1982, Linda was just 23, but her career was stalled. Hollywood was still gun-shy from the drug bust and saw her as the helpless victim from The Exorcist. A friend advised Linda to give her image a makeover.
She said, you know, I've just about had it that people just can't see that you're an adult, and everyone sees you as a little girl. They won't get past it. You need to have better roles.
Linda decided to pose nude for the October 1982 issue of We magazine.
She did it for the same reason that Burt Reynolds did Cosmopolitan. The career was a little cold at the time, and it was going to, she thought it would bring some heat to her. I guess it did give her some heat. But whether it was the right kind of heat. But listen, you're an actress and you have to work.
Quite often, for a woman who has been a child actor to do a nude spread saying, hey, I'm no longer a girl, I'm a woman.
I think the pictures are very nice. I don't have the same hang-ups as other people have about nudity. The magazine was meant so that I could talk about my story. I talked about the drug bust and so forth.
The racy photos didn't do Linda's career much good. By the late 80s, the woman who had once starred in the world's biggest film was reduced to appearing in a string of B movies.
Linda Blair fought her way back from hell, and nothing was going to stand in the way of her revenge. Savage Island.
I don't think she ever set out to do a B-roll film. The facts are is that she did some, and some of them back-to-back. So, you know, the script may look good, but the outcome sometimes can be bad. And I think she was disappointed, as anybody would be.
It was her agents, you know. They wanted her, they keep seeing all these career moves and put her in a couple of, you know, there was the rape scene in one movie, you know, and things that I think people saw, the crucifix scene in The Exorcist, and said, oh, well, she'd do this, she'd be great for this.
A lot of the people that represented Linda after The Exorcist did a damn good job of exploiting her. And especially a young actor or actress is very vulnerable when it comes to their representation. Oh yeah, here's a whole bunch of money, Linda, why don't you do this? Oh, okay, I can buy another horse.
In 1989, Linda at last got a chance to show her lighter side in the comedy Repossessed, which spoofed the role that made her famous.
Linda Blair's been repossessed. And this is the only man who could possibly save her.
Oh, she loves that movie. I mean, that's one she's really proud of.
The Exorcist was just a movie. And if I can poke fun at it, and I can make fun, then you can lighten up about it. So for me, it was one of the greatest purging experiences.
After more than a decade of trouble and turmoil, it seemed Linda's career was on the upswing. Then she learned her mother, Eleanor, had cancer.
I went back to Connecticut, and I spent really the 3-4 of those years with her. I did everything for her that I thought another person should do for somebody.
Linda's mother died in June of 1994. At the age of 69, the loss hit Linda hard.
And it doesn't matter how much a child goes against a parent. She was always right. My mother was always right. Didn't mean that I wanted to hear it. My mother was the most instrumental person in my life.
For Linda Blair, the 80s and early 90s were a time of personal and professional struggle. She acted largely in B movies that didn't allow her to show what she was capable of. She loved and lost, and she still struggled to prove to the world that she was something other than the little girl who had once been possessed by the devil.
Hollywood especially, I think, quickly categorizes you, and then it becomes, well, you are a safe bet as this, but not as anything else.
In the mid-90s, Linda changed herself by returning to the passion of her childhood